What is innovation?
Customer needs change every day. You got to be able to meet them.
Be able to spot human talent and to be a good leader.
Dream of things that never were and ask why not.
You have to keep creating.
Make people's lives easier.
The future. It's recognizing the future.
Reimagine what is possible.
Creating something entirely different.
Solving a problem creatively.
Valley, China, and all over the world.
Hello, welcome to Innovation Dialog. I'm Diana Ding, and here today we're with Beth Rogozinski, and she's the founder of Transmedia, which is the organizer for this hardware conference. So actually we're talking about the new era for the hardware, right?
Yes, it really is a new era for hardware. There's been a number of advances across the board in hardware. Number one is that you actually can connect your hardware now to software devices. So that enables us to update hardware in the field and to push something out in a much more agile and MVP way that we've always been able to in software. Number two is we've got crowdfunding that's available out there that enables hardware startups to actually test a market. And it used to be there was the adage of if we build it, they will come. Now we actually have this adage of if they come, we will build it, right? And that enables us to test the waters for our products. The third thing is 3D printing and prototyping has become so much easier, and these printers now, we actually have one company here that has a printer that only costs a couple of $100s. So we can prototype really rapidly, we can test the market, and we can get things out there and fix it in the field.
Yeah, it sounds like the ecosystem is already there for the hardware, right? Go ahead.
There are a number of platforms and an entire ecosystem, you're right, that enables these startups to get off the ground and trial things in the way that we only previously could in software.
But I feel that the customers, the consumers, still not aware of this. Like what you said in the before, the product before this go to market has to be everything's ready. But right now it's a different situation, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think to a certain degree, customers know about it, but they're not really aware of it, right? They realize that with their smartphone that, there's new OS updates all the time, right? So they see that, and now it's happening in their car, and it's happening with their kids' toys. So they're becoming aware of it. I think the second thing that consumers are becoming aware of are the crowdfunding sites like Indiegogo, who's here with us at the show, or Kickstarter. And what they're seeing there is a window into the possibilities that hardware can provide. And with that, they're starting to kind of open their eyes to what may be coming. What's the next in robotics, and they can vote with their pocketbooks on what they want to see.
Yeah, but for startups, telling the story is also a challenge. Some company already got their funding from Indiegogo, but you have the background of media and startup and others, and how do you give the suggestions to telling the story?
I think that's actually a really big challenge. We have a panel that I'm moderating here today called Marketing to Money and How You Tell Your Story. It is such a critical component of getting the message out there and resonating with the right audience. For us, it's actually envisioning the user experience, having a passion for the product, but not only that, but a passion for the end user, and being very empathetic with them. How are they going to love it? What's going to inspire them? What's going to irritate them? And if we can provide them with a product that is meaningful to their lives, and this can actually be a utilitarian product or a new jacket or a new pair of shoes, something that's meaningful to their lives though, then that's actually the best way to tell the story, is from the perspective of the user.
Yes, also personalize the product and the story, right?
And that's actually another thing that we can do with today's technology, is there's so much more customization that we can do. And so we see new skins for things like devices. There's customizable robotics. So everybody can actually have something that is similar and robust and yet make it their own. So, it's about, enabling people to take a product and make it their own.
Yeah, I see so many interesting products today, and we know that on the market there are so many wearable things, but still the competition is severe. So what is the biggest challenge?
I'd say the number one challenge for wearables and robotics is design. You need to think design first, and then and then the rest will come. I was talking with some friends at Wearable Worlds. They're also here with us at the show. Last year, something like over 300 wearable products shipped. And so, how do you differentiate yourself in a market that is already that crowded? And this is, it's not even a mature market yet. And so, one of the ways you'll do that is, by having a beautiful design that speaks to the end user that you're trying to reach. I think the other thing that we're going to start to see is market segmentation, right? There will be wearable, trackers for women who are very fashion oriented, and then there will be trackers for men who just want to be athletes, and vice versa. So these will look different, they'll operate differently, and just in the same way that there are different flavors of a watch, right? Everything from a Swatch to a Tag Heuer and a Gucci. Right, and so there will be a range in there for all of these devices as well.
And I see that there is a big potential for collaborations because for the software engineers, they design this, and we have designers or artists to add some their great ideas on the product, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're really entering a design era that began with, Steve Jobs, really, and what Apple was able to do, and is now even being pushed further. I was at a fashion technology event the other day, and this isn't being driven by engineers. This is being driven by designers, by people who have an idea of now taking this technology and making it beautiful. All technology actually goes through that cycle, right? When the first automobiles were developed, you actually needed to be a mechanic to drive it. You had to crank it and shift it. And now we get in our cars and they're little computers, right? And anybody can drive a car. In the same way now that we're moving to this point in designing and manufacturing hardware, that you needn't be an engineer. Our recent robotics panel was just talking, Easy Robot, DJ Shores has a company that enables anybody to make a robot. Now, 5 years ago, I could have never made a robot. Today, I can make a robot.
Yeah, so that's a different team and different people with different ideas to work together on the same goal. So what the trends do you see for this industry?
I think that we're going to continue to see more companies coming into market. I think that we'll continue to see a differentiation along design, and it's going to be just like in the app market, right? When the first iPhone apps came out, they were selling off the shelf and people were becoming millionaires because there wasn't a lot of competition. Last year we exceeded 5 million apps, and so all of a sudden the challenge became about marketing and getting above the noise. We're going to see a similar pattern in hardware. As more and more wearables and robotics and other devices come out, it's going to be much more about design and about telling your story properly.
So have you ever thought that expand this to China and have your conference have more product and startups from China?
Yeah, absolutely. One of our founding partners in the conference actually has offices and factories in Shenzhen and Jiangxi. Ben's son is also here. Benjamin actually used to run the China SF initiative. He currently also works with Keiretsu Foundation in China. So we're absolutely interested in expanding the conference and taking it overseas.
This is Innovation Dialog. So what is innovation by your definition in just 1 or 2 sentences?
Innovation really is pushing the envelope. It's going beyond what is feasible and even profitable today to develop and expand, what the future needs are going to be. It's understanding those needs. I mean, Steve Jobs actually kind of famously, if not infamously, claimed that he didn't want to talk to customers because they didn't know what they wanted, that he knew what they wanted. I think that, real innovative companies have a desire and an ability to see needs of the future and to make those needs. Which one of us 10 years ago, 15 years ago would have thought that we would have needed Facebook, that we would have needed a wearable tracker device, right? These are needs that have been created by the innovations themselves.
So I understand the future needs from the consumers and customers, but not everybody can do like what Steve Jobs did, Don't even need to talk to customer, but you already understand the future needs.
Yeah, and and Steve Jobs didn't get it right all the time, right? The Newton famously flopped. He had problems with the computers. But he just kept trying. I think that one of the things that we see in successful entrepreneurs is failure doesn't impact them. They just keep moving. And that's, I think, one of the things to be an inventor, to be an innovator, is that you have to be able to face failure, you have to be able to face defeat and keep going.
So as an entrepreneur, what do you see the future needs, especially as a women entrepreneur?
You know, I actually think that there's a couple of industries that are really ripe for disruption. Robotics is a big one, education is a huge one, and the third is healthcare. Healthcare, not only in our country but in the world, is largely broken. And I think that there's our closing keynote tomorrow is actually going to be addressing this. It's a huge and ongoing need, and I'm currently really interested in a particular form of healthcare, in mental and behavioral health. And I think that we're going to be able to move the needle really dramatically using technology in those three areas.
Well, thank you very much, Beth.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
As a startup in Silicon Valley, innovation is our DNA. It's inside our blood. What is innovation?
Very confident.
It's a way of thinking, it's a philosophy, it's a mindset. It's very closely related to leadership.
For me, it's really about finding the right fit between the product and the market.
Have a strong technology position, a strong market impact.
Innovation can be an idea, can be a product, can be a service, or can be a thinking. It can be everything, out-of-box thinking, not limited to your background, to the past. Welcome to Innovation Dialogue. I'm Diana Ding, and today we are going to talk about Cloud Festival. Today we have Carrie Davis, and she's here to share her story, which is so inspiring. What we are doing here is to summarize, bring out the point, and give a good presentation. Help people to bring out their idea to the whole world.
It's very important to be able to spot human talent and to be a good leader.
More importantly, it's how our corporate and partners perceive the value that's come out of the event.
It was all about seizing the opportunity rather than looking at the world as a set of problems.
I want to change the paradigm of angel investing being local. I want all of us to think global and to look at great opportunities in Asia or Europe, wherever it is in the world.
Come to Ding TV. Let us work together to bring out your idea to share with the whole world.